Welcome to the Raise Your Bars podcast, where it's all about elevating your life one step at a time. With your hosts, Chris Baker and Al Rattan. Together, we're here to guide you through the transformative journey of self-improvement and success. Have you ever wondered what behaviors and actions you need to change to achieve the results and success you desire in life? Well, you're in the right place. Each episode, we dive deep into the strategies, mindset shifts, and practical steps you can take to raise your bars. From personal development to professional growth, Chris and Al share their expertise, experiences, and the occasional tough love, all designed to empower you to reach your full potential. So, whether you're looking to make a big change or simply fine-tune your path to success, grab a seat and let's raise those bars together. Now, let's welcome your hosts, Chris Baker and Al Rattan.
Well, here we are again on the Raise Your Bars podcast, and we're actually recording this one a little bit later this week because my friend Chris was on a cruise. Lucky guy. With his wife. It was a good time.
It was a very good time.
Where exactly did you go?
It went to Western Caribbean, so it was a couple of stops in Mexico. But to be honest, we go there a lot, so we didn't even get off the ship. We just had 5 days on the ship, and it was really nice. When everyone else gets off the ship and you stay on, it's nice and quiet and relaxing. So we just enjoyed that. It was good.
Yeah. Honestly, I've never been on a cruise. I have to explore that at some point in time.
Yeah, you definitely do. You definitely do.
You and Vicky one day, me and Marge will come down and do a cruise. So
yeah,
fun. I'd actually like to do like a European cruise though, like overseas. So maybe that could be one of our goals for 2025.
Yeah, absolutely.
Overseas and do that. So we're back with part 2 of our series. We're not sure how many parts this is going to be because it really depends on how many topics we cover each. But this is top 2 on the top 10. This is part 2, sorry, on the top 10 reasons people fail. And we're getting sort of some notes here from John Maxwell's book, Failing Forward. And the one, well, so last week, what did we talk about last week? Last week talked about poor people skills, right?
Yes, we did.
Skills and how that, our strengths and our skills and so on and so forth, and how that can help us get further in life. Number 2 is a negative attitude. Attitude. I mean, like right away, I think as soon as we say that word negative attitude, everybody goes, oh, I know that person, right? Because I think we all have that person in our life, right?
Yeah.
Then you say, oh, somebody with a negative attitude, your mind goes to that one person and, God love them, but every time you get near them, they just suck the energy out of you and everything's going wrong in their life.
Yeah. Well, I think there's also times, if we're honest, there's also times where we all get that negative attitude too, right? And there could be certain things that we've got a negative attitude towards rather than others. And, what we've found over the years, Al, you and I, is that if one of us slips into that negative attitude, the other one brings us back, right? So
exactly.
it comes back to that associating with the right type of people that will basically hold you accountable for that negative attitude and bring you out of that, because it's if you're in that negative attitude, nothing good is going to happen.
Nothing good can happen because you're and you can't even see the possibility of anything good happen because you are focused on that detractor, that negativity that's going on in your world right now, and then you're going to miss those potential opportunities and everything. So so John tells a little bit of a joke in here. He says, I saw a cartoon that depicted a man getting his palm read by a fortune teller. As she studied the man's palm, she said, you will be sad, miserable, and poor until you're 30. And gee, the man replied, hopefully, what will happen when I'm 30? And the fortune teller replied, then you'll get used to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it really is like your reaction. He says your reaction to the circumstances in your life has everything to do with your well-being and your success.
Right.
How are we going to act and react when these different things come our way? And you're right? Well, there's been days when I've messaged you and I've been down in the dumps and things are not going exactly how I thought they would. And I may have allowed my mindset to slip into that negativity briefly, and you uplift and encourage. And it goes both ways, right?
Yeah.
And you're right. The importance of having those people in our lives is invaluable.
Right. And I think like maybe subconsciously, right? When people are displaying a negative attitude, and whether that's people, whether that's businesses or whatever, right? If they are expecting the worst, they almost want that to come true so they can say, see, I was right.
Yeah.
This is a bad situation, right? So look at the economy at the moment, right? And people are getting down on the economy. I mean, I know over the last week or so, the stock market has tanked, right? And
Yeah, I was watching some of my investments.
yeah, and you can look at it and you can get it. You know, I look at it and go, okay, well, it's tanked, but then maybe next week it will come back, right? Or in a couple of weeks come back, but
Yeah.
you know, businesses will look at that, and some businesses will look at that and say, oh, now we need to cut costs, right? We need to, like Tesla laid off a load of people in the last couple of weeks, right? You know, and if you get into that mindset of, oh, we're expecting bad things, everything's negative, let's cut back, you're never going to get out of it, right?
No.
Because you're expecting the worst, and therefore you plead when it comes right. You go, see, we were right to cut all those jobs, or we were right to cut back on those expenses. We were right to stop our training budget because look, if we were taking these people off and training them, they're off the sales floor. Well, guess what? If you train them and they go back on the sales floor better, then you have a positive attitude, and things will get better. You know,
Not only
so
that, yeah, exactly. It's
yeah,
true, right? And I've been through that cycle before, and one of the big things that a lot of people cut back on as soon as there's a little bit of a downturn is their advertising.
right.
And we're not an advertising company, folks. So I'm not saying
No,
this. I believe that is wrong, right? You
yeah,
want your name out there so you are front of mind when somebody does need something.
yeah,
Or else guess what? Your competitor is going to be front of mind.
right.
And but you're right. I've been, you know, again, 30 plus years retail management career. I've seen the ups and downs, and I've seen the cutbacks and the
Mhm.
cost of the cutbacks, right?
Yep.
Because then your customer service, it becomes this downward spiral. You cut back on your wage costs, your customer service suffers, people start shopping elsewhere, and
Yeah.
then your sales go down further.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and the thing is as well, if you start to believe that things are bad, right, and you've got that negative attitude, whether you intend it to or not, that will come across to your customers, right?
Absolutely.
And whatever market you're in, whether it's retail, business to business, whatever, it doesn't matter. Your customers will pick up on your negativity,
Desperation.
right? And that, yeah, and so they'll then go, huh, do I want to spend this money, or do I want to invest with this company and invest money in a product for this company, because they may not be here for very long, right?
Right.
And then I'm going to spend all that money, and then if they go, then I'm out of pocket, right?
Exactly.
So so the power of that positive attitude is huge, you know, and we've shared it before, but I think it's a good time to share it. Is about our garden example, right?
Mhm.
Where you've got the flowers and the weeds, and the flowers will be your positive attitude, and the weeds are your negative attitude. And your negative attitude will come naturally, right? The weeds will come. You don't have to water weeds or fertilize them or care for them. They will just come, right? But the flowers, the positive attitude, you have to nurture it. You have to care for them, right? And at the same time, you have to weed out, you know, no pun intended, but weed out the negative stuff, right? So pull the weeds out
Mhm.
and then concentrate on the flowers, and then you get a beautiful garden. But it won't stay that on its own. You have to intentionally work on that
Right.
and keep pulling out the negative, because negativity is contagious as positivity is contagious, but
Absolutely.
negativity spreads a lot quicker than positivity.
Mhm.
So you need to work at it.
Yeah, exactly. And it is really contagious. And I know we've talked about it before as well, where, you know, if you're around negative, if you have one person and that negative, that bad apple within your organization,
Yep.
it's kind of contagious with the rest of the team. And if you're not
Yep.
careful to cut out that cancer, because it is a cancer, we'll
Right.
just,
Right.
then you're going to be in trouble. Now,
Yeah.
two lines that are in the book, and John says, he goes, two men. Oh, there goes those. I got to turn that feature off. If anybody out there that's listening to our podcast, I guess I could Google it. I guess Mac OS has this thing, and if I do certain hand gestures when the camera's on, different backgrounds come up. It's balloons and thumbs up and fireworks and everything. Anyways, okay, so back to what I was saying. I just got to stop talking with my hands. I think that's the
Yes.
big. All right. Two men looked from prison bars. One saw mud, the other saw stars.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, again, that we talked. I think we talked a little bit about that last week, about seeing opportunities and having your head up and your eyes open.
Mhm.
You know, and when you do that, it's like that example there. That prisoner that saw the stars obviously was looking up, right? The
Right.
prisoner that saw the mud was looking down.
Yep.
So positive, negative, right?
Mhm. Yep. So just switching gears here to the next little paragraph in this section, he says, if your circumstances consistently get you down, then maybe it's time for a change, not in your situation, but in your attitude.
Yeah.
If you can learn to make the best of any situation, you can remove a formidable obstacle that stands between you and your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
That's another good way of looking at it. That negative attitude is going to detract us or pull us off course of achieving any of those dreams that we
Yeah,
may have had.
it will. That's the dream killer, right?
Yeah.
And procrastination is you know, we say procrastination is the killer of dreams. Well, procrastination is akin to a negative attitude, right? Because we're putting off something because we're like, "Ugh, I don't really want to do that,
That's a good point.
right? And again, I think, you know, oh gosh, there's so much we could talk on this, but you think about that and you think about the situation you're in now. It's like the chicken and egg situation, right? So
Mhm.
is the situation you're in now causing your bad attitude, or is your bad attitude causing the situation you're in?
Yeah, good
Right.
point.
And we really, our circumstances, current circumstances, are a direct result of our actions that we've taken previously, right?
Right.
Which is why when we look at bars,
Mm-hmm.
it all comes back to bars, right? The behaviors and actions that um, we carry out on a daily basis will directly impact the results and level of success that we get.
Yeah.
So when you look at the results that you're getting, look back and say, what have I been doing to get me here, and take responsibility for it, because you own that, right? And you can change that.
Well, it's the universal law of sowing and reaping, Chris, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so again, if you aren't getting the results and success that you want today, then what behaviors and actions do you need to change today?
Yep.
And maybe it is that change in attitude. Maybe it is surrounding yourself with some different people in your life, right? If you become like the 5 people you hang around with the most and you don't like what you've become, change the people you're hanging around with.
Yeah.
Right. I very much limit my interactions with people that are going to not add value to me.
Right.
I'm not saying that I'm not going to put myself in situations where I can add value to others, because
Hmm.
that's what we do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm going to very much limit my interactions with people that are not going to. And sadly, that has meant that I've distanced myself from some friends over the years
Hmm.
and have made new friends.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's I want to be around people that are not only going to lift me out. Like, I don't take this the wrong way, folks. I'm not looking for what's in it for me. That's not what I'm coming at this from. But I want to be around people that are going to challenge me, that are going to help me become a better person in
Yeah.
whatever area that I need to grow in, and uplift me. And I want to be that to those people.
Yeah. And Al, I just want to say, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong in if people think, well, what's in it for me, right? Because that there has to be something in it for you. At the end of the day, you can't, like Mark Cole says, you can't give what you don't have, right? And we are both passionate about delivering and adding value to other people so they can be the best version of themselves, right? We want to help develop people.
Yes. Right.
So
Both be doing better things with our time right now.
right. So
Right.
so if we are not associating with other people that are adding value to us, helping us be the best we can be, then we can't give that to others.
So true.
Right. Because if you continue to, and this means that it, again, it's the law of the rubber band, right? We under tension is when we grow, right? We're stretching ourselves and we're growing. So if we become the like John would say, the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yes.
I sort of agree with that in some ways, but I also think that part of what we do in terms of being servant leaders and giving back to others, there will be times where we are not necessarily the smartest room in the room, but maybe the most knowledgeable in what we're trying to help other people do.
Yep.
But at the same time, we should be in rooms where we're having other people lift us up to the levels that we want to get up, and then we can deliver that and bring everybody up, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Everybody that wants to.
Exactly. That's the big thing. Anybody that wants, because there are going to be those people that you run across that just don't want to change,
right?
Or they aren't enough. It's sort of like that. What's that old saying? The guy's walking by and he sees this dog like whining, and he's like, "What's wrong with your dog?" Well, he's lying on a nail.
Yeah.
Okay, well, why doesn't he move? Because it doesn't hurt enough yet.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of people get in that, right?
Uh-huh.
Or they find their now their identity is in that problem that they have.
Yeah.
And without that problem, they don't know who they are.
Right. Is the reward of making a change greater than the pain of staying where you are?
Mm-hmm.
Right. If it isn't, if the pain would need to be greater, right, for actually want you to move towards the reward. If the pain is not great enough to justify the effort that it would take to get there,
Right.
people aren't going to do it.
And I think that's why a lot of people do not start their own business or change careers or venture out on that adventure that they want to do, because where they are is not painful enough yet.
Yeah.
You and I both have great dreams, visions, and desires of what we want to do with our business and the bars program, and helping other business owners succeed and raise we call it Profit Accelerator for a reason, because the program that we do helps you increase your profits. And in a lot of cases, and part of our structure of this program is we don't get paid unless we actually do help you increase your profits. So, there's because we believe in it so much. But again, you have to be at a point in your business, talking to business owners now, you have to be a point in your business where you're saying, I just don't know where to go next. Right. Yeah. And the pain that you're suffering right now, the lost passion, the employee turnover, the culture in the company, all that stuff has to be giving you enough pain for you to say, hey, I need some help with this.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many, so many factors at the moment in business that could cause you to have that negative attitude. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, do you give in to that negative attitude and just say, okay, I quit? Right. Yeah. Or do you go, this means enough to me that I want to make it work?
Exactly.
Right. I want to deliver that for my family, for my employees, for my community, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Right. What is your driver? What is that motivation? And is that motivation strong enough to raise you out of the times when you will get a negative attitude? Mm-hmm. If it's not, you're either in the wrong business or you need to find your motivation, right? Maybe you don't know truly what it is that is the passion and why you've got that passion for what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're not passionate about it, in which case the negativity will probably win out, right? Mm-hmm. And either way, the key is that awareness, right? Identifying what it is, and then identifying the behaviors and the actions you need to do to pull you out of it and to grow, right? Or the behaviors and actions you need to do to exit that business, right? And save you all of that pain. And then you can get out of that negative attitude into a positive one, into what you want to do. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So good. Hey, we're at 18 minutes already, so we're going to wrap this up. This was obviously, maybe it will be a 10-part series.
Yeah, probably.
But really, that again, folks, we hope you get some value out of these our ramblings.
Yeah.
Like we said, we just pick a topic and go for it. But this is again part 2 of the top 10 reasons people fail, and today's was a negative attitude. Mm-hmm. And Chris, be a challenge then for our listeners over the next week.
I would say identify what you've got a negative attitude about.
That's
all right, and then make a decision and take action to do something about it. Mm-hmm. And the Henry Ford quote that is probably still my favorite quote ever is like, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're usually right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what do you want to do? Right. Identify what it is that's holding you back. And it's probably within you. Right. What is it? And then what do you need to do? And what do you need to change to get out of that?
Right. And I want you to also challenge you. If it's always somebody else, if you think it's always somebody else, guess what? It's not.
Yeah, it's you.
Okay. I'm saying that in love.
Yeah.
It's not always somebody else. It's you. Anyways. All right. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Again, share this with friends, family, coworkers, anybody who might get value out of it. And if you are a business owner and you are looking to increase your bottom line profits in 2024, regardless of the economy, build your company culture, build your team, have a more fully engaged team, then you need to reach out to Chris and I, because we can help you. Have an amazing.
Thank you for tuning in to the Raise Your Bars podcast. If you found value in today's episode, please consider sharing it with your family, friends, and coworkers. We would sincerely appreciate it.